Previously on Spenelli Speaks.
What do I do? What do I do?
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna end, 'cause you've been a good friend.
Hi everyone, Dani here. Welcome to my channel. Today is February, so it is time to talk about a February TBR. I hope that the shortest month of the year, you get some really good reading in. I, yet again, made a TBR that was incredibly big. Now, if you watch my channel and you've seen my vlogs, you saw me kind of, put this TBR together. Not quite everything, but you saw I tried my very best to keep it small, and I'm pretty sure I walked away from that clip and my shelves with 5 books. I'm pretty sure my current reading list is 12 books long. I don't know how it got there. I mean, let's be real, Dani, you know how it got there, but let's just get into it. So the first books that I'm going to talk about are the ones that are my ongoing books. So these books I'm buddy reading with fellow friends on booktube or not that are through the year. So of course we have my year-long buddy read with Laura over at Book Bubbler. We are reading Edward Rutherfurd's Sarum, which is a novel of England, and so far I'm only about 68 pages in. So this is going to just continue throughout the year. So that is on my currently reading list. So that is part of the never-ending TBR. Then I also have a year-long buddy read with Christy over at Dostoevsky in Space, Christy Lewis, and she and I are going to be reading A People's Tragedy, which is the Russian Revolution, 1891 to 1924. We didn't do any reading in January. I think just getting into the year and getting our footing of what else we were reading, we paused for a second. But now, as this is set up in 4 separate parts, and if you recall, this is like a textbook, we have chunked it out with each part going over a couple of months. So again, this is a full year-long read, but it is one that I will definitely be starting this month. So we have that. Another ongoing buddy read that I have, or a group read, it's like a read-along, is with Emily over at Novell Novel. She is doing a Wolf Hall read-along, and that starts with Wolf Hall, which is the first in the Thomas Cromwell trilogy by Hilary Mantel. I'll probably have a picture here because I'm listening to that on audiobook. I'm about 32% in, and we are to finish that book in February, so I should be able to do it no problem. And then we move on to the next book in March. So we will get those finished sometime in the spring, I'm thinking, spring-ish, summer. So that's another ongoing one. Then, of course, let's talk about those 3 buddy reads that are just lingering on. I first have Eye of the World, which is technically one of my 22 books to read in 2022, as it was one of my 21 books to read in 2021. And then Laura and I were going to buddy read this. I think Laura kind of dropped off the planet on that, which is perfectly fine. We all have our limitations when it comes to reading. I am halfway through this book, and I am liking it. It just takes me a little bit to get back to it because I have to be in the mood to be reading more of this high fantasy kind of read. But I am really enjoying that, so I'm going to continue to read that. And I pick it up, and typically when I pick it up, I try to read at least 100 pages so that I get a good chunk read because I don't come back to it that often. So I should be able to get it finished in 3 more sittings, I would say. So I have Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Then, of course, I have my buddy read that I was supposed to finish like 6 months ago with Jeanette and Rainey from Rainy Day Reads. So this is Kristin Lavransdatter. This is the 3rd in the trilogy. This one's called The Cross, and this is the completion. And I am about halfway through this. I have been picking it up. If you saw me in my vlog, I did pick it up, and I have been reading it. I read some of it last night. It's such an epic story. And when I say epic, I just mean that for being a medieval, in the 1400s, this woman and her marriage and all of her children, everything is just so dramatic. It's so dramatic, but it's so good. It's definitely a read that if you are into medieval reading and like a slower read, it's slow in the sense that there's a lot that happens. Like I said, this is the third, and a lot of it feels redundant because it's the same kind of stuff happening over and over again, but it's in different parts of their lives, so they react to it a little bit differently. So it's really just a family saga. It's excellent. I do recommend it, and I plan on continuing to try to finish this, hopefully this month, because I don't want to have these TBRs where I have all these books that are just extensions of like the last year that I should have been reading. So we do have that as well. And then la-ti-da, I did not even touch this month, but The Other Boleyn Girl is also on that. I was reading this with my good friend Tika, and again, I just fell off the face of the planet. So I am almost halfway through it. I think with reading Wolf Hall, it's kind of funny because I keep thinking about what I've read in here, The Other Boleyn Girl, which follows more so Mary Boleyn, who is I think she's the younger sister of Anne Boleyn. I think she's younger. And she is basically the king's mistress. And it goes through that story. And then Anne, where I'm at, is starting to kind of infiltrate and get her little webs in there. So already in this book, I do not like Anne Boleyn. Like, I feel like she is a conniving little demoned woman. And in Wolf Hall, we see Anne Boleyn and Mary as well, and very similar in nature. I feel like Anne in Wolf Hall is so devilish. She really is. She's very clever, and she's infiltrating the crown. And it's interesting to read these back to back because they're made from different authors. They're both fictional, but they're based on true people. So it really makes you wonder, like, is some of what they said true? So anywho, I'm going to try to continue to read that. You will probably see that in another TBR just because of the length and all of the other books that I'm really interested in reading. Okay, so let's talk about some new books that I'm going to be reading. I'll talk first about the 2 other buddy reads that I have going on. As you can tell, I like to read with people. So another book that I don't quite have yet, it's actually the whole just was released today at my library, and that is Good Girl, Bad Blood, which is the second in the, I guess, Good Girl series by Holly Jackson. It's a YA mystery thriller-ish kind of book. It's excellent. The first one, Good Girl's Guide to Murder, was fantastic. I am reading this series with Naomi at Naomi's Bookshelf, and we typically say we're going to take a week to read it, and the last one we read in 2.5 days. So we are extremely thrilled to be getting into the second one, and this one I think revolves around the same characters, but they have a podcast in regarding murders and whatnot, and something happens with that. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping that we follow some of the unresolved issues that happened in the first book and see how those flesh out, because there were a few questions that Naomi and I had about certain characters, certain institutions that we were like, well, wait, are you going to answer those questions? So we're hoping that that comes up in the second book, but it's a, fast read. You just get right through it. The characters are amazing. So I highly recommend that series if you're interested. Another buddy read that I'm going to be reading, and don't worry, I have a bookmark in here, but I haven't started Kim. So I'm reading this with Kim over at Bookmarks and Breadsticks. If you know Kim, she is a nonfiction food book reader. So not cookbooks, food books. So things that are about different foods, the inspiration of foods, where they come from, food writers, memoirs about chefs, that kind of thing. And I found this book in a little free library, and it's funny because when I was choosing it, I was going to choose a different book that was in there, and then I saw this one and I was like, you know, this would be a great book to read with Kim. And when I showed it, she was like, oh my gosh, I have that book, let's buddy read. And I was like, I was thinking the same thing. So we have Hooked: Food, Free Will, and How the Food Giants Exploit Our Addictions by Michael Moss. So this, first of all, was a cover take. Like, I was like, oh, this looks really fun and interesting, obviously, because it's hypnotizing me, which is the whole point of the book. So this is going to be a super fast read. It's only 200 and some pages, so we're going to get it done in 2 weeks. I'm really excited because I absolutely loved reading with Kim. If you saw last year, we read Nathan's Hot Dogs, and I adore reading with her because she has so much knowledge in the food market that when we read something like this, it's just really nice to have somebody that can kind of explore those areas that maybe I don't know about. So I'm really excited to read this with her. So that's another read in February. Okay, I'm pretty sure I missed one. Yes, so I don't have it with me. I think it's downstairs because we just did a live discussion. But for DoubleBookedCo, we have our book club pick this month, and I'll put a picture here since I don't have it with me. But we are going to be reading Snow Falling on Cedars by David Guterson. So that's what our book club picked this year, our month. Whoa, Dani, you're getting ahead of yourself. But that book is about, I think it's in the 1940s or 50s, and I believe it has something to do with a fisherman or something, and a Japanese American, and their story, and probably, you know, discrimination and whatnot like that. But it won a few awards, and I know there was a movie, so we're all very excited. It is a bigger book, so we're gonna have to get into that. If you're interested in joining DoubleBookedCo's book club, jump over to our YouTube channel. I'll put in the description below, and I'll obviously link everyone I've mentioned in the description below as well. But you can jump over there next Sunday, which if you're watching this in real time, which is February 6th, we will be having productivity sprints or reading sprints on the 6th at 4:30 Central Time. So if you're interested, if you want to read with us, if you want to read this particular book with us, that's great too. But we're going to be doing that, and then the live discussion will be at the end of the month. Anywho, okay, I'm pretty sure that's all the buddy reads and group reads and read-alongs and book clubs that I have. And then, of course, I had to add in a few other books, right? So I have Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I actually have this on audio as well, so I put this in there as like an extra book. It is one of the 22 books I want to read in 2022, so I'm going to try to listen to it on audio because I have tried to read this book like 3 times and have not finished it each time. And one of my subscribers mentioned that the beginning is kind of a drudgery, but once you get past the like infant stage and you get into school time, it gets much more interesting. So I'm going to try it on audio this time, and I'm assuming that it'll be much better. So we have Wicked, and then because it's February and why not, I did grab Wuthering Nights off of my bookshelf. This is an erotic retelling of Wuthering Heights. So if you know me, I think it was in my first year of being on BookTube, I read Jane Eyre, and then I had this erotic retelling of Jane Eyre Laid Bare, and it was horrible. Horrible. It was so bad, but it was so bad it was hilarious. So it really just made my life better in the sense that I got to rant and rave about it. So when I saw this, wherever I saw it, I don't even know where I picked this up, quite honestly. Oh, St. Vincent de Paul. I was like, I want to do that again. So I figure I will read this, and maybe it will also be horrible. We'll see, and I will let you know because I want to save you from books like this. But yeah, I thought, why not have another ranting and raving about a silly erotica? So I will also read that. And then I promise my last book here, we have, and everyone is going to correct how to say this, but Chez, moi? Maybe Chez moi? No, Chez moi? I don't know, but it is a really small read. It was red on the cover, so for February, I thought, why not? So I picked this one up. It's about a restaurateur, someone who isn't actually a chef, but buys a restaurant, and it looks like there may be some love in this one. The letters are really big. It's a really short read. I think it is less than 300 pages, so I figured something quick and easy for the beginning of the month would be great. You know, I should have just said quick and easy for this. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, Dani, put your jokes away. Anywho, so that is the last book that is on my TBR. We will see what we get read and how far we get into the other buddy reads. There's so much here, but I'm excited. Let me know, what are you reading in February? You know, being the shortest month of the year, I think we still jam-pack so many books into the month, but can we finish them is the true question. We'll see if I DNF anything. I'm really excited for my buddy reads. I'm excited to finish some of the reading that is continuing. So yeah, tell me what you're reading in the comments below. Have you read any of these books? Let me know. Let me know what your rating is, and we will see you next time. So until then, I hope you are reading something great, of course, taking care and staying safe. And as always, I know you know how it goes. Happy reading. Bye.